The Super Bowl just finished in the US, which is the largest American football event. And what's fun to watch during the Super Bowl is not only the actual athletics itself, but also the advertising and marketing that goes around the event because we get to see which companies are willing to risk such a large amount of capital and money to potentially go viral. So, with these ads, some companies do them very well. They go viral. There's a lot of discussion. It essentially pays off for what they're paying. And for a lot of companies, these ads flop entirely. And so what I'm going to talk about today are some opportunities that I've seen from Super Bowl advertisements. And I'll kind of dive deep into one specific opportunity, which I thought was particularly interesting. And this also plays into a new feature that we've launched at my business that I do outside of my YouTube channel, which is Ticker Trends, which is a new data tracking tool. But before I get into this opportunity that I found from Super Bowl ads, of course, if you're interested in following updates on my business, on opportunities that I find that I don't mention on my YouTube channel, feel free to follow us on Twitter or X at Ticker Plus. Also, if you're interested in what I talk about in general, any of the research or technology that I work on, and you are an accredited or qualified client investor, then we also have the Social Arbitrage Fund, which is a US-based hedge fund, which utilizes some pretty awesome technology to do a lot of the things that I talk about on social media and on my YouTube channel, but at a much more advanced level to gain an edge in financial markets, or at least we hope that we gain an edge with what we do in financial markets. And we also provide monthly updates on our performance of the fund on Twitter and through email as well. So you can join our mailing list or follow us on Twitter and just stay up to date with what we're doing, since we are fairly early stage. If you do think that any of this could even be of interest to you in the future. But let's take a look at what Super Bowl advertisements performed well. And this is actually a new feature which we've just added to Ticker Trends, which is called the notifications page. What the notifications page does is, the goal of this is to eventually become an alerts and notifications center for various social terms that are connected to companies. Right now, this feature is in beta, so it's kind of a more simplified implementation of this. But very soon, you will be able to add these terms, of course, connect them to companies on the Ticker Trends platform, and then receive alerts and notifications through email, text, whatever platform you prefer, which will give you an idea of the trend of these social discussion topics, some related terms to the social discussion topics, and a summary of what's actually occurring. So to generate this summary, we take a sample of social media posts. So all these thousands and thousands of social media posts relating to a specific subject or term, we get some of those posts and we synthesize that information to automatically generate this summary of what's actually happening. And right now this data gets updated daily, but when we launch this full alert feature, it will be updated more frequently than that. So what I did is I added some terms that relate to Super Bowl ads, and you can see just a general idea of what's happening in these trends super quickly. So here I have the term Microsoft, and you can see here the summary says Microsoft has released Copilot and is expanding its Xbox offerings. And then you can see some of the terms that come from the social media posts that might be useful to analyze that relate to this discussion or trend that's going on. And then we have a little chart here, which is the hourly discussion volume of this specific topic. And then the trend strength essentially just means if this value is at all-time highs or not. So the farther it is from all-time high, the lower the trend strength will be. So again, the goal here is to find those very breaking trends, those immediate trends that are happening very short term across social media and various digital platforms. So in addition to Microsoft, I added some others such as Kanye West, Temu, Etsy, NFL, Bitcoin, Kia, Skechers. So a lot of these terms relate to some ads that were played, such as Etsy had an ad, Temu had an ad, Kanye West, I'm not sure if he had an ad, but there was some discussion about an ad that was related to him. And then there was also Bitcoin, which was mentioned during the Super Bowl, which now the discussion has evolved since then. But Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, was wearing a Satoshi shirt, which was shown on television. So a lot of people were talking about Bitcoin related to that. This is another cool example of this feature where you can see the Super Bowl halftime game highlights, fan reactions. You can see Taylor Swift, Kansas City Chiefs, which is the team that won, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. These are all terms that heavily relate to the social topic that's being tracked. Then you can see the clear spike in social discussion as the Super Bowl was ending and as the winner was announced and the game was ongoing. So the term that I thought was interesting from looking at some Super Bowl discussion, some ad volumes relating to what was going on at the game was Temu. Temu is a platform that I've heard of before, but I'd never really done a deep dive into what this company does because to me it seemed a little bit obvious, but I hadn't realized the scale of success that they had reached. And of course, it is a publicly traded opportunity under the ticker PDD, which is Pinduoduo, which is a business that actually is in other segments as well. But you can see they had a Super Bowl ad, which did have quite an impact on social discussion for the company, which you can see through this spike here, which was when the ad was aired during the Super Bowl. And much of the discussion, as you can see, was about this Super Bowl ad, which they had played. So I did some brief research into what Pinduoduo is, and I found something that was pretty interesting, which is this company is very similar to other platforms like AliExpress or Wish.com, which are essentially these platforms which take these Chinese products or very low-cost products and sell them in U.S. markets. So these platforms have existed before, but Temu seems to be the latest iteration of this strategy, which has seen massive success. And it's not just fast-growing, massive success that Temu has achieved, but it's success at a scale that is absolutely enormous. So it's not a normal level of success that this company has been able to achieve. Here we can see the trends of Temu compared to the competitors like Shein, AliExpress, and Wish. And you can see that the visitors during this period, and Temu actually launched in September of 2022, it's already substantially surpassed even the largest competition, which could be seen as Shein. So this company is pretty unique, and it has been impacting the stock price of Pinduoduo quite substantially. So I thought it was something that I wanted to take a deeper look into to see what type of social trends and what's going on within this company that's causing this. So I did a bit more research. If we go back to the Ticker Trends platform, and we can look at Pinduoduo, which is the company that owns this website. If we look at some of the web traffic, which is similar to that chart that we've been looking at before, but this is more up-to-date web traffic, we can see that level of growth, which was mentioned in that prior article. And what I also did here is I added AliExpress, the AliExpress US website, which is more of a US only focused website. So keep that in mind. Temu.com likely also has web traffic from places outside of the US. And potentially AliExpress US could only be for US customers or something to that extent. But what was really interesting here is you can see that the web traffic volume for AliExpress US is about 1.2 million, whereas Temu is about 16 million. So again, this is just another example. When we were looking at that previous graph that shows quite a large delta in the trends of something like AliExpress, 22.9 versus Temu, which is 70 in this chart, which I'm not sure what units, 70 million. Right, so clearly there's a massive difference in volume of users going to this platform. We can look at some search trends too. So if we look at Google search trends for Temu, we see a similar story of massive volume growth reaching all-time highs in January and even more recently. So this is really a company that, as I was saying before, even though it's reached this level of volume, it's still been able to grow quite substantially. Another data source that we can look at is something like Reddit discussion and see if discussion is reaching all-time highs. When I search for the subreddit Temu Codes USA, then again, this data will be fetched through ticker trends. And what Temu Codes USA is Temu Codes USA is a subreddit where people share essentially affiliate or referral codes for Temu for new users who are signing up to the platform. So this could be potentially an interesting representation of new users discovering the Temu platform, because they are going to be sharing these codes in this subreddit if they're new users or if they think that they're joining the platform. So you can see the volume of social discussion of upvotes and frequency of posts is increasing as well for Temu codes on Reddit. So overall, the data on ticker trends looks quite promising and interesting for Temu. The next question I had is really, what does Temu do to differentiate itself? And what I found is I don't think that Temu does very different than some of these other platforms that I mentioned before, like Wish.com or AliExpress. So basically what ends up happening with these types of platforms, and of course this can be the anomaly, this can be the one that doesn't experience this trend, but what has happened with some of these other platforms is something like Wish.com starts marketing their product, which is offering these cheap products from outside of the US to US customers, and people start to rapidly get those products and start to purchase things from that platform because they're so cheap. And as they receive these products, which tend to take longer to ship, so let's say a month to 2 months to ship the product to the US, once they receive the product, then they realize that the quality of what they've purchased was very bad to the point where potentially they can't use it. At least, again, this is with Wish.com as a specific example. They would sell these $2, $3, $10 products that when you received them, you can't really use them. So they looked promising when you purchased it, but when you received it, essentially you just lost whatever money you spent to purchase it. So with Temu, they could experience a similar thing where people will go to this platform because they see these appealing pricing. They saw it on a Super Bowl ad. It's this growing company, and they purchase some new shoes or new pants, or they buy some pots and pans for their house, and it takes about a month or 2 months to receive it. Maybe they purchase some new things in the meantime, and then by the time they receive it, they realize that the quality is horrible and they never go back to that platform ever again. And so then they end up having very high churn in users. People use it once and never use it again. So they experience these massive rapid growth phases and then equally rapid declines when they essentially reach some level of saturation. Everyone that would use this platform has used it, received a product that they weren't happy with, and stopped using the platform. So when they're comparing this company to things like Five Below, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, these are hypothetically companies that it could compete with and it could take over as the digital version of Five Below or Dollar General. But we will need to validate that as they go out of this growth phase that they're in right now of just purely new people hearing about Temu. Once that saturates, we have to see if these users go back to the Temu platform and continue to make purchases to see if it really is going to be competition for these different companies, or if, similar to Wish.com, it's just a fad that kind of dies out. So this was an interesting opportunity that I saw from Super Bowl ads, and of course you can track all of this data on ticker trends. You also have a risk of trading this company, being that it is a Chinese company, so you have far fewer US focused protections for investors in China. So if you're trading it on the US stock market, Pinduoduo PDD stock, then you might not be as protected as trading something like Wish.com, which now is not performing very well after they kind of died out from their growth period. But let me know what you think. Maybe I'm wrong about Temu. Maybe there are other aspects of the business that will propel them to continued growth. So I'd be interested to hear your experience. Maybe you've used the platform and you have an alternative perspective, which you can share in the comments. But I'll see you in the next video.